And he's a good finisher, Joshua. Like, you watch every one of his fights, 99% of the time, if he gets someone hurt, he goes on to take them out.
That's what we trap for. Some man, they wanna chat shit till I knock them, ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls high, rolls back, my flow sharp like a hacksaw. Getting off.
Welcome back.
We're back, been a little while, but we are back. Been busy, man. And what a week to come back, though.
I know, mate. Crazy week in combat sports, isn't it, this weekend?
Biggest week I can remember, probably since the time when Diaz fought Masvidal and Canelo fought on the same night. Remember that, when they had the video of Canelo in the changing room, watching this, because they waited for the UFC to finish, didn't they, before he walked out. Obviously, you've got, everyone knows, I'm sure, but just to give some context, we've got Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou Friday night.
I feel like that's just crept up on us.
Yeah, it has.
Like, this week it's just like, boom, now it's on. I know there's been quite a bit of hype leading up to it, but I felt like this, I didn't really know it was this week.
With the Francis Fury fight, it felt like it was in our face for months, didn't it? I feel like we knew about it for 6 months, whereas this one, although we've known about it for a while, it's kind of flown under. Well, when you think, we haven't really known about that long, because Joshua fought, the 23rd of December? Yeah. So it was only 3 months ago. It's not crept under the radar, but like you said, it just feels like out of nowhere. It's like, bang, it's fight week.
They haven't done any of them big like promo videos they did with Fury and Ngannou yet, have they?
Yeah, no,
like the baddest man on the planet ones. That
haven't you seen the one they poured out last week? It's like Street Fighter style.
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It is.
Oh right, I'll have to check that out.
It's really good, but yeah, massive undercard as well. Gavin Quinn's on the undercard, so special shout out to Gav. But I mean, all things considered, I really can't wait for the fight. I think there's so many factors in it, you know. When I look at it, there's like a bit of, when I try and put like an analyst hat on, I think Joshua probably, I don't want to say he's not a better boxer. Fury's obviously a technically better boxer, but he does things a little bit more traditionally than what Fury does. He's a little bit more works off the jab. He's good on the inside. He's very, very powerful, and I don't think it's unfair to say he's a bigger puncher than Fury by far. And he's a good finisher, Joshua. Like, you watch every one of his fights, 99% of the time, if he gets someone hurt, he goes on to take them out. That being said, he also doesn't take a shot as well as Fury, I don't think.
No, I agree.
You know, we've seen Fury rise up off the mat against Francis, against Wilder. Steve Cunningham put him down years ago. I'm just trying to think through some of the other fights he's had, but he's been put down a lot, Fury, and he just seems to get back up and crack on, doesn't he? But we've seen instances where Joshua, don't get me wrong, Joshua has got off the mat against Klitschko and gone on to win the fight, but we've seen him against Ruiz, Ruiz, clip him and put him down a couple of times. We've seen Usyk didn't put him down, but there was stages where Usyk had him hurt and they kind of shelled him up a little bit. However, what I will say is he's now working with Ben Davidson, who is a hell of a trainer. Got a hell of a... Well, he's known for bringing Fury back to fight Wilder, but he's also got guys like Lee Wood, and he's got a big stable. He kind of part-time coaches Devin Haney as well. He's a proper student of the game, Ben Davidson, and Joshua's last fight, he looked fucking awesome, didn't he?
He did.
He looked brilliant. Best he's looked for years.
I don't think Ben Davidson ever really got the full credit for bringing Fury back, because I think everyone kind of put it on Fury being like a champion and all that, didn't they? Whereas I remember, you see him now working with all these others and you can really see it shining through.
I remember at the time they kind of slated him a bit because he wasn't very well known. They kind of said, he's just a PT. He just managed, Fury got the skills, he just got Fury's weight off. But like, when you look now at the stable he's got, like, he's took guys like Lee Wood to 2 world titles, and Lee Wood was at a point in his career where he was not down and out, but he was never going to be a world champion, and Ben Davidson has brought him back through. For someone like Devin Haney, who's the elite top 3 pound for pound of the sport, to say I won you in and I won you part of the camp, that should tell you all you need to know about him. And
I've seen more of that this week.
Yeah, that's been mental,
Haney Garcia than I have Joshua Ngannou.
But to go back to the fight, obviously, to then talk about Francis, obviously, if you're a guy that maybe doesn't take a shot very well, the last guy you want to get clipped by is Francis Ngannou. And what I think, for me going into the fight anyway, is I think if Francis does clip him and put him down, is more than likely game over, I think. I'm not saying I don't think for 1 minute he one punch starches Joshua. I don't think that happens. But I think if he clips in and put him down like he does to Fury, obviously, I think Francis knew when Fury got up, right, I've put him down, but he's not, you know what I mean? He's not done for. I'm gonna take my time and not burn myself out. I think if he puts Joshua down, I think you'll see him go for the kill a little bit. I think you'll see a more aggressive Francis this time anyway, because I think Fury's an hard guy to work out. He's a lot bigger than Joshua, although he doesn't look it. He's taller, he's heavier. I think Francis comes out a little bit more aggressive, looking.
Could you imagine he come out like he did Rosenstrike and just
but that's
leveled him like?
That's the other side of the coin. I think he can't come out too reckless because Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist and two-time world champ. He's very good. Like, although people kind of be like, he can't box like Fury, but he can fucking box. He works off the jab. He picks his shots very well. Like, Francis can't come out, like you said, like the Rosenstrike where he's just swinging bonk. I think Joshua will clip him. But Francis has never been put down, I don't think, ever.
No, it's going to be interesting. He's just got like his head, isn't it?
His neck.
It's massive. Like
his neck's like a fucking tree trunk. It's like no wonder he don't get put down carrying that head on those shoulders. It's like Fury clipped him with big bombs. He didn't go down. You've seen Stipe Miocic crack him in 4-ounce gloves and he haven't gone down.
That should be UK sort of time, should it? In Saudi, I would have thought.
I think I've seen online that it's going to be 11 p.m. They should be in the ring for 11 p.m.
Oh, they'd be in there about 12 then.
They said that last time and they walked at about fucking 1:45. So buckle up for a late night. Saturday morning training is going to be rough. But yeah, for me, can't wait to see how it unfolds. Can't wait to see how Francis approaches it. I feel like Joshua's going to approach it like on the back foot a little bit, use his jab, try and catch him and keep him off him. But I mean, we'll see, won't we? I mean, imagine Francis beats him. Like, and fair play to Joshua, full credit, because there's a kind of a lose-lose, because at the minute, realistically, if the stars align, if Fury beats Usyk, Joshua and Fury are going to be next to fight, aren't they? Yeah. So for Joshua to jump in and take this fight is risky. I know the Wilder fight was probably going to happen until Wilder lost, but if Joshua loses here to Ngannou, that Fury fight's kind of like miles away again. Yeah. Francis is probably going to fight the winner again then, isn't he?
That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Imagine he went on to win undisputed. Like,
be crazy. Well, imagine he does win. You've got a guy who's 1-1, and his one win is against Anthony Joshua, probably the third best heavyweight on the planet, one of the best heavyweights of all time. You know, let's be honest.
Yeah.
On paper, Olympic gold medalist too. So his one win is against Anthony Joshua, and his one loss is a close split decision loss to Tyson Fury. Like, they'll be making films on Francis Ngannou one day in years to come.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know if, like, when I was watching the fight, I thought he beat Fury, but I just don't know if that was my expectations of how he would do compared to how he actually did. You know what I mean, on the night?
Yeah, I agree. I think initially when the fight finished, I was the same as you. I was like, they fucking robbed him. I've watched the fight back and I kind of think now, maybe it wasn't a robbery. I can see why they give it to Fury. But I could also see if they scored it to Francis, I could also see why they would give it to Francis. And again, I think I was worried after the fight that Francis wouldn't get credit. It would be a case of, Tyson didn't train properly and this and that. But like, I've watched the Netflix. Have you seen the thing on Netflix this week? It's been out. It's kind of like a documentary on that fight. And you've got like Tyson 8 weeks out saying like, I'm training for him like I train for everyone. I train my bollocks off. You know, I'm undefeated. I'm not going to go in there and be upset by some MMA fighter. So I don't think it was a case of Tyson didn't train properly. I think it was a case he didn't know what to expect and got a little bit different to what he expected. And I think he kind of expected Francis to wilt under the pressure a bit. But, you know, Francis Ngannou's a different breed of animal.
He is a different breed. I can't wait to see it this weekend, mate. Yeah, it's going to be class.
Final prediction. I'm going to go out on a whim. I gotta back the MMA community. You know, I gotta back. Francis is doing it. Francis knocking down Fury was a massive win for us MMA boys when we've had a lot of losses to the boxing guys between Jake Paul and Mayweather and all them. So I'm going to go Francis Ngannou. I think if he does it, he's obviously got to do it by KO. I don't think he's going to outpoint Joshua. Joshua's a very good, point scorer. So I'll go Francis by KO. Why not?
I'll go the same. I reckon like 4th, 5th round, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Fingers crossed anyway. But, wouldn't be a surprise to see Joshua beat him, but that's the game they're in. It's heavyweight boxing. We move on. Big UFC card. 299. I'm just looking at the fight card by year. I mean, the main card alone is crazy stacked.
I think I'm more excited for this potentially than 300 at the minute. I know that's a lot big narrative going around, but I do feel is valid.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the undercard. I mean, we won't waffle on the undercard too much, but you just look at this for prelims. You got Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. Pedro's been about years, top 10 for probably 5-6 years. I was actually meant to fight Kyler after I fought Ricky Simone, ended up tearing my knee, and then obviously decided to go up a weight, so that fight never. But two real good guys there. You got Mateus Gamrot versus RDA. Now that could be a main event on a fight night anyway. You know, that's a fight you'd love to see over 5 rounds. I seen a stat on, just to quickly go into it, on RDA. This is the first time he's fought on the prelims since his UFC debut.
Really?
And I think, it may not be his debut, but I think it's like in 10 years. It's the first time he's been on the prelims in 10 years. And in the last 10 years, 18 of his 20 fights have been main events.
I've seen like where they've done a picture of all the people he's fought.
That's an insane stat, isn't it? That's an insane stat. Caitlin Chookagian versus Macy Barber, that's a good fight in the women's flyweight division. A big, that'll kind of set someone up to go into the title picture. And then Curtis Blades versus Jailton Almeida is the headline of the prelims, which is wild because for me, potentially that fight, the winner of that fight could very well be Tom Aspinall's next opponent. Because I feel like what UFC are going to do, I don't think we're going to see Stipe versus Jones till the end of this year. So I feel like Tom is going to want to fight before that, and I feel they're going to be like, right, defend your interim belt. And I think, obviously, he's got unfinished business with Blades. Although Blades won the fight, it was like a controversial ending with a knee injury. And Jailton Almeida, his last fight with Derek Lewis wasn't brilliant to watch, but he's a fucking killer. He's on 10 UFC. So I think the winner of that fight could well go on to fight Arsenal. Let's just jump on the main card. I think, should we work bottom to top?
Yeah, go on then.
So opening up the main card, we've got Petr Yan versus Song Yadong.
That's a barn burner, that is.
Song Yadong, right? I think he's 25, which is wild. He's 21-7. So he's had and won no contest. So he has had 29 pro fights, and he's 25, and he's been in the UFC for about 5-6 years, and been in the top 10, 15 for the majority of that time.
His fights as well, they're always well exciting, aren't they? Who did he fight last time? Was it Saint-Denis?
Yeah. Yeah,
like
he got cut by... No, he's had a win since Saint-Denis, but he had a barn burner with Saint-Denis as well, didn't he? But, it's a big fight there. Petr Yan has kind of got a bit of work to do here because he's on... It's wild because like this time 2 years ago, Yan looked like an unstoppable, looked like he was going to be champion for years. So Song went on 2 fight wins. He beat Ricky Simone, who I'm familiar with, and he beat Chris Gutierrez, which was a good fight. But, if I'm just looking at Yan's record here, 2 years ago, Yan looked unstoppable, didn't he? He looked like he couldn't be beat, and then...
He's kind of hit the Tony Ferguson curve.
Yeah, a little bit. So, he obviously lost the knee loss to Aljo. He beat Corey Sandhagen, looked brilliant again. Then he lost to Aljo, split decision. Many people thought he won. Many people thought Aljo won. He then lost to Sean O'Malley, that many people felt like he won that fight. Me included, if I'm being honest.
I thought it was really close, that one.
He then got dominated by Merab. No shame in getting dominated by Merab. Everyone gets dominated by Merab. But
that looked at the time like he's lost 3 in a row now. He's washed out. But when you see what Merab just did to Cejudo and what he's done to everyone else.
But you look at that, so technically he's 1-4 in his last 5, which is kind of mad when you think he went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fight win streak before getting the belt. It looked like it should have been a 12 fight win streak with the Aljo thing. Obviously, it shouldn't have been because he got DQ'd, but it looked like he was going to go on to win there. So yeah, Jan's got a bit of work to do. Song's not an easy fight for anyone. Stylistically, I think Jan's obviously not worried about the takedown. I think anyone who comes to purely strike with Yan, you could well be in for a tough night. Big fight. Big fight for both guys. I think if Song wins, it propels him. If Yan wins, it puts him back in the mix. But also, it's a kind of... I don't think they're going to cut him for 1 minute, but he's kind of got to win the fight, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite a big main card, and it's 5 fights.
Yeah, moving on. Gilbert Burns versus JDM.
That's an exciting... Just Gilbert Burns versus anyone is an exciting fight.
You'll never complain at seeing Gilbert Burns on a fight card, will you? Every time it's a war. It seems like the only fights he loses are slugfest losses, and the fights he wins, he goes out there and sparks guys out. JDM, though, is a real prospect. Beat Kevin Holland, I think, in his last fight.
Yeah.
Beat Kevin Holland. I think he's undefeated in the UFC. Real good boxer, like elite level boxer, big puncher. So I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry, my voice going. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gilbert come out and starting in takedowns. You know, Gilbert's fucking grappling's elite level, and we've seen that against Wonderboy. You know, we've seen it against Chimaev even. Like when Chimaev took him down, he couldn't keep him down. He was that dangerous, and Gilbert Burns got one punch knockout power as well. Yeah. So, I mean, that one is a tough one to call. You'd think like Gilbert Burns he's not the old veteran, but he's a veteran, but he's very much, for me, still at the top of his game, still in his prime. So
whenever I think about him, I always think about that overhand right. He dropped Chimaev and then he went for the soccer kick.
Yeah.
That's not legal.
Does that mean when a guy bumps you at the bar, and Gilbert Burns dropping him and tries to kick him? But that was an insane fight, wasn't it? Probably fight of the year, and although he lost that fight, Gilbert, it kind of raised his stock a little bit, because at the time we'd seen no weakness from Chimaev whatsoever, and then Burns give him all the way to go.
I thought he won, I think, at the time.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
A lot of people did. I mean, I have to go back and watch. I thought Chimaev won at the time, but it wasn't a one-way fight by any means. And if it was a 5-round fight, you know, that one I'm probably going to say, I don't know. I got to back Gilbert, I think, just based on experience, level of competition that he's been in there with. You know, but again, another fucking barn burner. They like you said, didn't you, that for you this is a better fight card than 300, and whether it's a better fight card or not, there seems to be a lot more hype around this card, doesn't it? Feature fight, Kevin Holland versus MVP.
Like that should be like a 300 fight for me, because it's like a spectacle, and it bringing MVP over.
It's a showcase fight, isn't it? It's like doesn't have no real title implications, but it's one of those fights that's purely put on for the fans. I mean, Kevin Holland, his resume speaks for itself. Yeah, he's picked up a few losses, he's got a few wins, but he's been in there with a who's who, not only at welterweight, but at middleweight as well. Mad MF fights on like 2 days notice, 5 days notice. I remember when I fought out in Vegas, he took a fight with Marvin Vettori on, I think he took it on the Monday of fight week.
He's like the Cerrone of that division almost.
Yeah, and every time he's in there, even the losses he's picking up, especially at welterweight, I feel like at middleweight there was a case sometimes of him getting like wrestled down and people using their weight, but at welterweight, you know, he's picked up losses that you know, he's looked good in them. I think his last fight was against what's his name who we just talked about,
Jack Della Mana,
and a lot of people felt like he won that fight. A lot of people thought it was close. I mean, if we look in here, he lost to JDM, which is no shame in that. I mean, he submitted Michael Chiesa, knocked out Ponzinibbio, lost to Stephen Thompson because he decided he was going to have a 5-round stand-up war with Wonderboy, which no one does. Lost to Chimaev, no shame in that, especially on short notice. But you look at his record. Look at some of the names on there. I mean, Jacare Souza, Derek Brunson.
That was unbelievable.
Marvin Vettori, Cowboy Oliveira, Tim Means. You know, he's fought a who's who. We then jump to MVP, who's got a massive amount of hype around him. Well earned, because of the performances he's put on, the knockouts he's put on, flying knees, shattering foreheads. His style is just very fan-friendly, isn't it? You know,
who's his most recent MMA fight? Because I can't recall seeing him fight for a while now.
He beat a guy, I looked at it yesterday, he beat a guy, we all good on the camera, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all good. He beat a guy on split decision, was it? And I never really heard of the guy. What's his name? Sorry, no. It was it was like 20 seconds this, when he kicked, remember he low kicked the guy and they like shattered the guy's knee.
Yeah, that was
so that kind of shows the power he possesses. I know guys in the kickboxing circuit who said, listen, this guy's been like a phenom in the kickboxing world for 20 plus years now. He lost his fight. He won his last fight. He lost bare knuckle to Mike Perry, and he lost a split decision before that to Logan Storley, who is very, very good. And a lot of people felt like MVP actually won that fight. You look back for that, he's got wins against Douglas Lima, Ross Houston, who I know. He's obviously beat Paul Daly. You know, he's got some good wins, albeit not the caliber of Kevin Holland. The interesting one, I think, in this for people is that his MVP at this, the level he's at in Bellator Is he at the level in the UFC? Can he cross straight over and pick up where he left off? Or are we going to see the old case of where a guy comes from a different promotion and finds out there's levels? Don't be wrong, it doesn't always go like that. You know, look, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, you know, all guys that have crossed over and have put themselves in title contention straight away, or have shown, look, I'm just as good as you guys. So I think well be a case of that.
I think they've given him the perfect fight for that, because they could have, I think anyone on the roster, bar like the top 2 or 3, would have fought him just because of the name value. Yeah. So I don't think they've done him dirty. They've given him like a good fight.
You could 100% have thrown him in the top 10, couldn't you? And 100%, like you said, people would have took the fight because of the name value. Kevin Holland is a friendly style for him. Kevin's most likely a striker. He is a BJJ black belt, and we have seen him submit guys like Chiesa and use his ground game. So it'd be interesting to see whether he mix it up. The way he's been speaking online, it would lead you to believe he's going to mix it up a little bit. But fucking Kevin can bang as well. You know, Kevin one-punch knockout at middleweights. So, you know, MVP's not going to be a guy who's going to be easy to land your hands on. I think anyone who's ever beat MVP in the past has utilised their wrestling game a little bit. Yeah. But for me, it's a 50-50 fight. It is a 50-50 fight. And obviously for MVP, I think if he does win, although Kevin is not ranked, I don't think Holland's ranked, I think he's just outside the rankings, it's going to put him straight in there. You know, and some of the fights, there's some good fights here from guys like, who wouldn't want to see MVP against guys like Ian Gary, Vicente Luque, Wonderboy. You know what I mean? All these good strikers in the welterweight division. I'd love to see him in there with some of them.
And I think he'll get that like Michael Chandler fast track if he gets a couple of wins.
The Dana White privilege, as they
pretty
call
much.
it.
Yeah, I think so.
No, yeah, you're right. One win, he's going to be. Look, how big would a fight in the UK be? Leon Edwards versus MVP.
You could sell any stadium out, couldn't you?
Realistically, what MVP wins this? If you can get him another 1 or 2 wins, you can market that fight then, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Co-main event. This is the fight I'm most looking forward to on the card. The Diamond Dustin Porier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. And I'm going to put my opinion out there, and then you can have your say on what you think. Lot of hype around BSD, and very, very much deserved. Ex-armed forces, been on a fucking tee. Lost his debut in the UFC at welterweight, and then has won 5 since. And looked like an absolute wrecking machine. However, not a shit on BSD at all. I'm a big fan. I'm very high on him. But I just feel like over 5 rounds, Dustin Porier is going to take some beating. I think people are kind of down on him a little bit because he's just lost to Gaethje. But let me just click on Dustin's record just to remind people, because a knockout loss to Gaethje in a fight that, all right, second round not, but he was doing well in the first round. It wasn't like it was one-way traffic. And let me just go through Dustin's resume. So, lost to Justin Gaethje. Before that, he beat Michael Chandler. Before that, he lost to Charles Oliveira. Again, go and watch the Oliveira fight. He was sticking it on Oliveira and knocked him down, I think, 2 or 3 times before then obviously getting caught in the choke. Oliveira does that to pretty much fucking everyone who's not named Islam Makhachev. Then we look at the resume right before. This is just some of the names. Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis, Eddie Alvarez again, Jim Miller, Michael Johnson, Bobby Green. I mean, if we want to go even further back again, we can. Joe Duffy, Conor McGregor, Cub Swanson, Max Holloway.
They're all names you know, like, aren't they? Yeah. There's not one of them on there you haven't used before.
And over 5 rounds, he's shown how tough he is. For me, technically, he's the better striker. Denis's style is like, he's a good striker, but he's very physical. He's like, woof, woof. You know, he's not like a slick striker like Gaethje, who's kind of setting stuff up and whatever, not smashing leg kicks in. But it will be an all-out war. I think it'll be an all-out war. I just think you're not going to out-dog a guy like BSD. He's an armed special forces guy, but I just think over 5 rounds, Poirier is going to be able to keep bringing the storm. And I think there's some substance to what I'm saying, because you look at Saint-Denis, and you got to give Poirier credit for fighting a guy who's so far behind him, and you got to give BSD the credit for making such a jump in one fight, because he's gone from fighting Matt Favola, who I think is ranked 14, to now jumping to a guy who's ranked 2 or 3. It's a big jump in competition. As good as Matt Favola is, like I just said, you know, you only got to look at Poirier's record to let you know where he's at in terms of, You know, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, Poirier, to never win
I agree.
To never win I know he won but never win the unified belt.
My thoughts are, usually when you look at one of these fights, you got like it's either going to go one way or another. He's going to stay at the top, or it's going to be like a passing of the guard to the new guy. But when age isn't involved, usually the older guy loses. But I think Poirier is the type of person, like, he's so salty, isn't he? Like, in every interview, you can see he's like aggressive. He's like, no, motherfucker, I'm not going to be like taking a step back. Most people are like, well, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to let that happen to me. But he's really got that in him. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop him. And I think that's going to be the difference between him and half the other older people that do take them losses.
Yeah, and I think he's like, look, when you fought Conor McGregor twice in a row and then fought for a world title against Oliveira for pay-per-view points as well, he made a lot of money. He's got a couple of million in the bank. When I was out in America last time, he was on the Samsung advert for phones because he done an interview and said he can't stand iPhones. He's a Samsung guy. Samsung sponsored him. He's doing commercials in America for Samsung. He was doing an house insurance commercial. So he's probably a multi-millionaire. Probably doesn't fight. And you've heard him say in interviews, only way he fights now is if the fight scares him a little bit and it motivates him to get out of bed. He fought Chandler, was fight of the year. He fought Gaethje, who's an absolute killer. So make no mistake, he hasn't taken this fight thinking it's an easy fight because it doesn't do nothing for him. No. If he beats the number 12 ranked guy, he's going to stay where he is regardless. And I think important to note that he actually asked for it to be 5 rounds. I mean, Poirier actually, if I'm fighting a guy that far back, I want to do it over 5 rounds.
That's class.
Which tells you all you need to know about the type of guy he is. And like you said, he always got that bit between his teeth, haven't he? He's not going to be the guy, I'm just the old guy going to roll over here for the young guy to make a name off me. So, yeah, I mean, I've got bets on, well, no, I've got bets. I've got like gentleman bets on with the boys in the gym that I think Poirier is going to do it, and I think he's going to do it by knockout. Wouldn't be surprised to see the result go the other way. But I just think people are not giving Poirier the credit he deserves in terms of who he's fought and how he's done against him. So I'm going Poirier.
I think
by knockout.
I'm agreeing with you on a lot of these, which is, usually I like to go against you, but I can't on this one because I definitely want him to win. And I think he will do it. And I think he'll be walking around the ring like he did after McGregor, and he'd be fucking
charged
flexing.
Up. Yeah. Calling out Gaethje or calling. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win and call out the winner of Gaethje and all that. I think he's 1-1 now with Gaethje. Obviously, it's a weird one because I think if Gaethje wins, he fights for the belt. I think if Holloway wins, they're talking about him and Poirier. So I don't think he's going to fight for the belt just yet. It's an interesting one. I'll be interested to see where it goes. But then again, they're talking about Charles and Arman now. The winner of that is going to be the number 1 contender. So we'll see what happens. Main event then, finally, we've got Sugar Sean versus Chito Vera. Weird main event, really, for me, and this is my opinion on it. I feel like not many people really wanted to see the fight. I think Chito is coming off a win against Pedro Munoz. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He lost to Sandhagen before that. Wasn't a great fight against Pedro. He done what he had to do to win. O'Malley's coming off a win over a guy who many people are arguing is the greatest bantamweight of all time, and he's knocked him out in a round or 2 rounds. So it's a mad fight, really. A lot of people are under the understanding that Merab should be next in line. It shouldn't have been Chito. Not a knock on Chito. You take the opportunities you're given. They're trying to spin it, I think, like, the last fight Chito won, but it ended in a bit of controversy with a leg injury, which it did. But for me, this is why they've stacked the undercard so much to... Number 1, they want to build a star in O'Malley. He already is a star, but they want to increase that star power.
Yeah, I agree.
But number 2, I think they've stacked this undercard so we kind of forget about the fact that the main event is kind of made on the basis of, well, that's who O'Malley kind of picked to fight. Not so much he's not fighting the number 1 guy. He's fighting the guy who he wanted to fight.
Yeah. And like you say, I think that's the building a star aspect of it, because he's just got the belt. Not that they've wanted to line him up. He's had some really difficult fights leading up to the belt. Like, we can't take anything away from him. There was a time I never thought he'd ever become champion, and he has. So fair play to him.
Oh, he's very much he's a legit champion.
Yeah. But I think there's an element of let's keep him here for... Not saying he couldn't lose again, mind Chito Vera, but I think it's an easier stylistic fight for him than Merab.
Merab. Yeah, look, you can't ever write O'Malley off. How many people thought Aljo was going to get hold of him and ragdoll him and put him down? Yeah, as I was saying, he's got that touch of death. He's got that one-punch knockout power, hasn't he? Where if he clips you, it's lights out. And it's not to say he couldn't do that against Merab. We've seen Merab get rocked against Marias. We've seen him get rocked against Jan. No, maybe not Jan. Cejudo. So it's not to say he couldn't do it. I'm not saying he can't beat Merab. Just like you said, stylistically, this is a much better fight for him. But that's not to say Chito can't go out there and pull it off. He's done it before. Neutralised him with I know O'Malley said it doesn't count as a loss and it was a fluke, but it wasn't a fluke, was it? The leg was damaged from the kicks.
Yeah.
Chito's a very good kickboxer, very neat and tidy, can bang, got big power. And how many times have we seen Chito down in fights and then come back and win by knockout? Your Frankie Edgars,
Cruz,
your Pedros. Look,
he has got that dog in him as well.
He's got the dog in him. He's not going to roll over. If O'Malley clips him and hurts him, he's not just going to think, oh shit, I'm done for. It's going to be a dog fight. And in all fairness to O'Malley, I think he knows deep down it's a tough fight. You hear him talking about, I can't just go out there and, I seen him saying, embedded. I can't just go out there and be swinging because Chito is a dog. He's like, if I swing and I miss and I don't catch him and I gas out, then that's where he's going to come alive. So I think you're going to see a very technical fight. I don't think you're going to see O'Malley out there looking to just starch him out there. I don't think you could have a guy like Chito. I wouldn't be surprised to see this fight go the distance. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go the distance. I don't think anyone's putting Chito away easily. I don't even think he's ever been finished. So, yeah, and you can't help but love Chito's story. He's come from nothing, kind of does everything to support his family. He's got a daughter with a disability, and if you go back to his early days, he was fighting to pay for his operations and his surgeries and stuff like that. So he's a guy who can really get behind. He's got a massively good coaching team behind him in Jason Perillo. But I just think O'Malley's on a run at the minute. And I think until he fights a guy like a Merab who's going to come out there and try and mix it up and rest him a little bit. And I think that Aljo win is going to do him massive for his mental. He's gone out there and fought a guy who could quite easily have tucked him down and subbed him straight in, and he ended up pulling off the unthinkable, really, knocking him out pretty early on in the fight. So,
and injured,
yeah, you got to give him credit.
Yeah.
Look, people love to hate on O'Malley because of the stuff he says and the way he acts, but he can fight. His striking's really good, really elusive. His wrestling defense has held up really well. We've seen him defend some really... his biggest shot for me is when he beat Petr Yan. I generally thought Yan would go in there and make easy work of him. And say what you want, close fight. Could it have gone either way? Yeah, but he had his moments in that fight. He rocked Yan multiple times. He done damage. He showed a bit of dog as well. He got dropped himself and then ended up recovering and coming back and coming on strong. So I think O'Malley takes it. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go decision. But I would think it'll be a close fight. In the latter stages especially. I think you'll see O'Malley do a lot of outpointing in rounds 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he gets a little bit closer, but I just think he does enough to score the points and defend the title.
Yeah, I might go against you with this one. I just think Chito might just nick it
just
at the
outdog
end.
Him.
I think so, yeah. I think O'Malley will come out probably strong, maybe round 1 or 2, maybe. And then I don't know if the title will turn. I'm just doing that to go against you, to be fair. But
to be fair, Chito's a good finisher. When he gets guys hurt, he finishes. And his ground game's really good. Like, his submission game's fucking slick. So, I know he's not known for his wrestling, but if he can end up in a good position on top, who knows what could happen. But, yeah, we'll have a little gentleman's bet on that one.
Yeah, sounds good. I think it'll be close. Either way.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. There you are. Done our picks. What else is going on in the world?
I think that's it for this weekend.
I think that's it, yeah.
Not missing anything. Obviously, 300 is fast approaching.
Drop it in the comments who you think are going to win. Ngannou, Joshua, Poirier, Saint-Denis, O'Malley, Vera.
And massive card. Can't wait. Massive card this weekend. Late night Friday, early morning Sunday by the sound of things. As always, guys, we appreciate your support. We thank you for watching. Don't forget, it helps us out massively if you like and subscribe the video. We've got some vlogs coming up. Also, I'm back in fight camp, training hard. So we got some stuff going on, Joe, behind the scenes that we're going to get out in the next couple of weeks. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. O'Malley or Vera, Poirier or Benoit Saint-Denis. Boom.